these times when we're having economic crisis, it takes away stress. It reduces stress to the barest minimum.
It reduces stress. And I think that what you're saying is quite relatable. Let me give my own instance because as I used to do a job where I was so stressed at my job, and somehow I was kind of, I don't know whether it was conscious or unconsciously, I was taking it out on the people around me. And somehow it was beginning to make me a toxic person at the point because since I was not able to take it out on where I was working at the time, I would rather just do it to other people. But I think it took me a good sense of awareness, self-awareness, for me to know that what I was doing was what I was doing and it was wrong. And there was need for me to consciously improve on that. So I think that it's about the self-discipline that at some point redirects us to have a self-assessment of what we do to the people around us or what we do to ourselves in a way that's going to not just affect our immediate communities but also our nation, so to say, because like you always say, it is the people who make up a country. It is the people that make up Nigeria. Nigeria isn't just existing, it is because people are there, and whatever we do represents the image that Nigeria holds. So I just decided to give that example because if I continue to be that person, then I'm taking it out on them. They're also taking it out on someone else, or maybe to me as well. And then the bad energy continues to grow and grow and grow, and it has a way of impacting on our nation. So I think that I really get the points where self-discipline has a huge role to play when it comes to being a better country, and also in the case of economic crisis as well. Now let's move on to the next part where we get to talk about some of these very important strategies that could help us to thrive in case of an economic crisis, especially now. I think even though it's still very debatable, even though some signs are quite glaring, others would say that no, it's relative, but there are some indices that indicate that we are going through an economic crisis. So what are some of those very important discipline strategies that we can imbibe or inculcate to help us thrive now?
Okay, now the first one would be to, as citizens, as individuals, to be able to thrive in situations like this currently where we're having hike in prices, inflation and everything. One of the things that is going to help is to set clear financial goals.
Okay.
Set clear financial goals. This is not the time where one should spend recklessly. This is not the time where one should have targets for things that are not reasonable, or for things that are not a need. You see that?
Yeah.
So we must be intentional about the goals that we are setting this period. Don't have what we call impulsive spending. Whatever you see, you just want to spend on. No, have a target. Set clear, reasonable, attainable goals. That is one of the ways that we are going to thrive in this economic crisis. So it is my encouragement to every and anyone who is listening to us. As long as you are concerned, as long as the economic state of the country currently is concerned, it is important that each and every one of us set clear financial goals. Know what you want to spend on. Know what your monthly target is. Know the things that you need to buy, not the things that you just want to buy. The things that you need to buy, the things that you need to eliminate from your list, the things that you need to put into your list. So it is important that we all set clear financial goals.
Okay. All right. I'll move to you as well. He gives one and then you give one. I think that way makes it easy for me.
Okay, so from my end, I think we should, another means of strategy we can employ is association and then peer influence or pressure.
Okay.
You know, we used to talk about peer pressure as a thing for children, maybe in secondary school or in the university or as young people, but the reality is that I used to think, I can never be pressurized into anything as an adult, but in recent years, I've realized that it applies. It could be from your close friend, it could be from your circle of friends. So the people you associate yourself with, you should also watch their habits, spending habits, for instance. Mr. Innocent already just talked about impulsive buying and all of that. if you have a friend or people who are so used to, oh hi, let's hang out, we are outside,
Yeah, we are outside.
Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday, and then you know that, okay, I just have a little. Let me just
I don't
hang
have
out,
much.
Let me just hang out with the guys or the girls, and then the next thing is, before you know what's going on, you spend you spend so much in one night or in one outing. So, let's say you now say, okay, if I was at home, I wouldn't have spent this much. So you have to cut down on or manage your relationships with people at this point as well. So
okay.
it helps you. Okay, if I know that I have a friend who is, come, let's just step out. Stepping out means 100K is going out in 1 hour.
Someone said only the decision to step out costs you 5K.
Thank you. So you have to now it doesn't mean you can't have fun, but you just have to plan.
Yeah.
Like you said, you have to plan to, okay, this is the amount of money I intend to spend at this time. It helps you control. It helps you control. It helps you control your finances. It helps you manage your relationships with people as well.
Okay, all right. If I got you correctly, you're basically just saying that if you have self-discipline, or if you must be able to thrive in an economic crisis, you should be able to manage your associations with people, association with your acquaintances, your friends. If you used to be outside from 5 p.m. till dawn, till dawn, then you have to change it. Like you will stay till everything that comes, you'll say they should order. They should order. Before you know, they're asking you, is it savings or current? And then you go home, that's the time you're reflecting on all of the debit alerts, and you're like, did I really pay for that? Did I really buy that? So I think that is also a very good point. I don't know if you have more to add before we move on to the other parts.
To add to what he said, what he said is very profound. Limiting any form of temptation during times of economic crisis is very important, because there are some kinds of associations you would be with, you would go out with, you know that you are in trouble. You would be spending on the income that is yet to come. You see that now.
Yes.
So when you go out with such people, you are vulnerable. You're putting yourself out there to temptation.
Just because you want to fit in.
You see that now. So most likely you are going to make a wrong financial decision at that point.
Okay.
So it is advisable that any way we can, we should limit some kind of associations that is going to put us in trouble. You see that. Another point that I would like to bring in is budgeting.
All right.
Budgeting. Knowing how much is coming in and knowing what you are using that money for is very important.
Yes.
You see, it is important to plan expenses. That is one of the ways to thrive. Thriving in this economy is two ways.
Okay.
Number one, trying to grow your means of income. Number two, managing your resources.
Okay.
If you grow your means of income and you don't manage your resources, that means of income will still deplete so fast. You'll be wondering where my money went to.
Of course.
You see, sometimes you'd see people at the end of a month or at the end of the year, when they ask for their account statement, they will be, the moment they see the amount of money that has gone through their account that year, they'll be wondering, what? So I had this kind of money.
Right.
And you don't know what you did with it.
You see that,
So
and
people spend
then
what did I do with it?
those people, they have an assessment of their life at the end of the year. What has happened in my life? Nothing. But yet this amount of money went out of my account.
Exactly.
It's usually a wonder, but the trick is budgeting. If we budget even before we spend, we know where the money is going to.
Okay.
You see that? So budgeting is one of the ways of really thriving in economic crisis, because let me tell you the truth, if we do not teach our audience this, there will be trouble in the land. When people do not have food to eat because of poor or ill financial decisions, they will be forced to lie, they will be forced to steal, they will be forced to compromise. This is true. When people are not taught how to handle finances, how to manage finances, this will be the problem. And then you see our country, we start complaining about the country, government, this, that. In as much as we are trying to make our leaders do well, it is also important that we dance to the tune of the current reality.
Yes, sir.
That means building systems that will help us thrive while we are still trying to encourage the government to do what they're supposed to do. So our responsibility is not just to come and list what the 7 core values are. No, our responsibility is that through that 7 core values, we are able to solve the problem of the people. You see that? So if our audience can learn through what we are saying today, that one of the ways of thriving in economic crisis is through self-discipline, and one of the areas in one of the keys or the things you should do if you are self-disciplined is to budget. You see that over time our lives begin to get better, our financial decisions begin to get better, while we are striving to increase the amount of income we're getting monthly, yearly, weekly. We are also managing it well. Because what I'm saying also boils down to, for example, people who gamble.
Okay.
Do you know that there are people who gamble away their children's school fees?
It's not even news. There are some that will gamble and they have to put their houses for sale.
You see that
or they have
now?
a particular land and
You
then they
see?
put it up just
You see?
because they have to
You see?
compensate for that.
And then the implication of that or the consequence, because unfortunately a lot of people make decisions and ignore the consequence.
Yeah.
One of the pointers to the right decision to make is to see the consequence. When you know the consequence of that decision, then you know whether to make it or not. You see that now?
Yes.
So it is very important, because these people who go ahead doing things like this, let's say gambling, like I told you initially, what would happen, the consequence of that is that they will be forced to steal. When they are hungry, when their family is hungry, they will be forced to steal, forced to break their integrity, which is one of the core values still, forced to break their integrity to be able to
Survive,
you see that, survive. So it is very important that we budget, find out how much is coming in, and designate where that resource is going to, so that we don't spend out of the books. No, we spend according to the books.
We don't spend out of the books, but according to the books. Well, you hear all of that right here on National Core Values, how you can be better citizens of Nigeria. It's not just about asking what Nigeria can do for you. What can you do for Nigeria? Well, the conversation will continue when we return from this commercial timeout. Please stay with us and keep listening to Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja.
Get the desired clients for your business and service and get your phones buzzing. From the 1st of September to the 31st of December, you can advertise and reach a large audience with the Eagles FM Ember Months package. Advertise on any of our platforms and get a whopping 30% discount. That's right, 30% discount. For more information, please call 080-5919-8658. 080-5919-8658 or 081-5791-7278. 081-5791-7278. The Eagles FM 102.3 FM Ember package is a sure way to getting a wider clientele for your business and service.
From Milky Way to Earth, everywhere there's internet, you can connect with Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Log on to our website, www.eaglesfm.com. Follow and engage with us now on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok at Eagles FM Abuja, Instagram at Eagles FM 1023. Download our apps on your Android and iOS stores. Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, your radio experience you can count on.
Get the desired clients for your business and service and get your phones buzzing. From the 1st of September to the 31st of December, you can advertise and reach a large audience with the Eagles FM Ember Months package. Advertise on any of our platforms and get a whopping 30% discount. That's right, 30% discount. For more information, please call 080-5919-8658. 080-5919-8658 or 081-5791-7278. 081-5791-7278. 7278. The Eagles FM 102.3 FM Ember Package is a sure way to getting a wider clientele for your business and service.
Are you ready for this?
Keep this frequency clear.
We're live. I woke up with a Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja.
Radio is an experience. Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja.
Alrighty, you're still tuned and listening to your Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. And I think it's important that I restate that you have to tell your neighbor about 102.3 FM. Yes, the frequency is 102.3 FM Abuja, and then the name is Eagles FM. So when you call the name, always call the frequency. Well, you've been listening to the National Core Value segment right here. We have been trying to talk about the need for self-discipline and some of those self-discipline strategies that we can employ to help us thrive better in an economic crisis. And so far, we've talked about setting clear financial goals, talking about budgeting, and also having your cycle, the kind of people that align with the need for you to thrive and also be disciplined. And so far, it's been a very wonderful conversation. I think the fact that we were talking about something off air, something came to my mind. Just this morning, I was trying to tell the listener that there were times we're trying to remember the good old times that, there were times when by this time parents are already stocking up Christmas shoes, Christmas clothes for their children. But it seems like that is beginning to go out. It's gradually fizzling out because some people are now saying, okay, do I go for Christmas clothes or do I buy a bag of rice? Which one are you going to choose? Right. And then I went on to give a story of my dad because growing up, my dad would tell us that if you have to go for Christmas clothes, then you're going to forfeit your school fees. And then sometimes he will call us and tell us, it's not because I cannot afford this, but I want you to know that as much as it's available, it's not everything you want in life that you're going to get it. You must learn to have a scale of preference. And at the time, I would be so angry with my dad, somehow, not angry or entitled, but because of what I saw other children they were doing or getting from their parents in that regard, I would always want my dad to do that for us as well. But growing up every day, I get to understand that actually puts in me a very important mindset to help me survive. Because you are going to leave daddy and mommy someday. And sometimes you may not have it all to do certain things, and you need to have a scale of preference. So when you talked about budgeting, staying to your budget, cutting your coat according to your size or material, it actually came to my mind. I remember that part of those kind of things, the very practical way that my dad was trying to raise us up at the time, that yes, I know I can afford this dress for you, but I'm going to give an ultimatum that you have to choose between a Christmas dress and or going back to school, like your school fees or Christmas dress. And somehow we'll go for our school fees because we want to go back to school. So nobody's going to choose Christmas clothes. So somehow I think that some of the things that we do in our homes, remember the other time we were having a conversation about the values we hold in our families. I also have a way you gave us an instance of your parents as well, the things that your dad taught you back in the day and how it is helping you today, because you know that any decision you want to make, you remember where you're coming from. And somehow it has a way of attaching value in our society. All right. So now going on to the other discipline strategies that we could adopt to help us thrive in economic crisis. He gave the last one, so I think you give us the next one before we continue.
Okay, so I'm just going to relate this to the point he brought up, which was budgeting. Budgeting is something that not many of us have the culture, give account for what we are going to spend. And Nigeria has even made it easier for people to make excuses. Maybe like, okay, I'm going to the market, I'm going to buy maybe a basket of tomatoes for 10,000 naira and all that. And then it happens literally almost every day, or every day you step out of the house, something is above your budget, something is way out there. And so you just be like, what am I doing? I'm tired. Let's just do it anyhow. And there's this thing. So but then I think another way to curb spending and also manage ourselves is keeping a track on how much we spend and on what we spend.
Okay.
And also, so the idea is, when you know that at the end of the month you have a certain amount of money coming in, and at the end of the month you are meant to, you have responsibilities and all of that.
Yeah.
It helps you know that, okay, I'm not supposed to spend frivolously. And also, I think another thing is saving culture. So when you have a goal or a plan, let's say I'm planning to maybe buy a system or a computer set or something.
Yeah.
In the next 1 year or in the next 6 months, it allows me to manage. It helps me put, it helps
because
me
you have a goal, you have
Thank
something
you.
you want to get.
Yes, and it doesn't just stop at helping you achieve something tangible. It also forms the basis of your character. And because when you know that, okay, I'm not, let's say I'm going to drink, but you remember that if I spend 100k on a drink, it will affect something somewhere. Your sense of responsibility also comes in. You are able to be more available to those around you, to support them when emergencies come up.
Okay.
Also supporting families and friends who have, we cannot predict when something would go wrong. Maybe a medical emergency, or maybe a career related, maybe something comes up and you need to pay for some important project that is running on a promo. So these are things that would, show you much later on that me being able to control my urges as regarding to spending, or as regarding to my relationship with people, as regarding to how I behave, it's interconnected. It will touch almost every facet of your life. So keeping track on yourself, the responsibilities you carry or you bear, the people you are accountable to. And that's another point I would like to put forward. To help you discipline yourself, you must have an accountability partner. Someone who holds you responsible for your actions. So I know that if I am out over the weekend and I'm drunk, or for instance, there are people that shouldn't hear it.
Oh yes, because you know that there is
be
someone
at.
that is going to hold you accountable.
Thank you. And there are people who, okay, maybe at certain point in time they are checking in on you to know what you are doing at that time, or you owe certain persons certain reports at the end of the day. It helps you put yourself in check, and I think it's a very risky thing to have to go about one's life without having a system, or whether as a person or as a group that checks
you,
your excesses. So these are the things that I feel that a lot of us don't pay attention to them. We could just my pastor used to say something, and I think it's quite applicable here. Be very weary and afraid of somebody who does not have anybody that checks them, or that someone that tells you stop, and the person will listen. That one person, it could just be one or two persons, just have that person, because when we don't have someone like that, then you're actually headed for destruction. So it applies to ourselves, the idea of disciplining ourselves, whether in spending or whether in behavior, whether even in your workspace, even in your academic settings. Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ugo. Now, I think the next point, before we actually take the other ones, which is talking about the strategies to help us thrive in economic crisis. We've mentioned the fact that you need to set clear financial goals, create a budget, and he buttressed on that by talking about having people that will call you to account. Apart from just setting a budget, you need to have people that when you're going overboard, they should be able to draw you back or say something that will help you to rethink certain decisions. And also the kind of people you keep in your corner would also help you. I don't know if you have more to add to some of these strategies that we've mentioned so far.
Okay, one more that I would like to add is this. Build a system around financial management.
Okay.
That means establish productive routines.
Okay.
Around financial management. That means let it be that in a month we already know that certain amount of money is going for this. It is the same thing next month, it is the same thing next month, it is the same thing next month. The amount might increase depending on what is happening in the market, but we know that there is an amount going for this and this and this. Now that is going to help reduce unnecessary spending, and that is also going to help reduce some sort of spending fatigue. You thinking about what to spend, how to send money here, how to know. It's going to reduce all of that. So creating a productive routine, building a system around your spending as touching the important things. Now you remember that these things goes, there is a hierarchy to these things. First, you have created a budget. After creating the budget, now you turn that budget into a system that should not be flouted, a system that must be followed over time. That means that, let's say, in a family, for example, you know that throughout every month, a certain amount of money is designated for groceries. A certain amount of money is designated for cleaning. A certain amount of money is designated for food. All of these things, for example. So that becomes a system. You have built that routine. So tomorrow, you are not coming to scratch your head wondering what to spend this money on or how to go about this. You already have a system that stays. That system can be reviewed over time and changed, but the most important thing is that there is a system. You see, very important. Honestly, it is my hope and my goal that these things that we have taught, these things that we have talked about, people see it as keys that can really be used. It is honestly not our intention to come and just maybe talk and then leave. We want a situation whereby our audience will hear these keys that we've given now and say, I found the keys. I found the keys to managing my finances properly, even in this economic crisis. And then when they go home and apply it, they see results.
Now, talking about what is happening out there, people say that we Nigerians, we don't have difficulties adjusting to whatever it is that life throws at us. That if there is a situation, if you push Nigerians to the wall, they will keep pushing, they will somehow make a space in that wall, and they will continue to push and push. So what do you think about this particular notion that it has been there?
Okay, I was going to say this in my conclusion, but since you brought it up, now, just because we're talking about discipline and being able to manage and adjusting to the current situation, that is what wisdom demands that we should do. Wisdom is profitable to direct. So that is what wisdom demands that we should do at this point. However, to bring a balance to it, it doesn't mean that we should plateau at this level. Remember, the goal for discipline is growth. When you are disciplined, it doesn't mean that you should limit your mind and plateau at a level and keep going down and down. No. When you manage your resources well, you are able to take care of yourself, able to take care of your family, you are able to save, you are able to invest properly. Invest so that you will grow. You will grow, maybe mentally, build knowledge, invest into businesses that over time will give you returns that you can reinvest and have a better life, have better areas of getting income that will increase how you live your life. You see that?
Yes.
For example, if your income is 1 million monthly, for example, and you are budgeting correctly, you're doing what you should do, and you're taking out 20% for savings, and over time that 20% gets into something that you can reinvest into a business. When you reinvest into it and over time you make some money, you are taking part of the money, reinvesting back. You see that an amount of money you put into your life, now that increases the level of income you are getting. From getting 1 million, you might be getting 1.5 to 2 million. You see that the investment you've made over time. Now this is you not plateauing, you not limiting your mind, but being disciplined for the sake of growth. Not just survival, for the sake of growth. Though our assignment today is to teach you how to be disciplined so that you can thrive in economic crisis, but also you should also have in your mind that while you are disciplined, it is also for the sake of growth. So we should not get to the point where we can be pushed and forced into limiting beliefs, into limitations, into managing whatever it is we have been handed. No, that is wrong. While we are managing ourselves and trying to survive and doing well, we should also not limit our belief systems, limit our minds to that point. We should also insist in any way we can that the government, the leaders, our society, our parents, whoever it is that is supposed to contribute their own quota to seeing that Nigeria moves forward should do it. You see that?
Yes.
We should not be cornered into a point where we don't speak out again. No, we should speak out.
Yes.
We should speak out that everyone who must take responsibility should do it. Everyone who must play their role should do it.
Yes.
So that is the balance. That is the wisdom that our time requires.
Oh,
You see that?
All right. I don't know if you have something to add to that because our time is really fast spent, so we have to round things up. Okay.
I'm just going to say that discipline is, it's one of those values that are interconnected. These value systems we've been talking about, Generation for Societal Change, they are connected.
Okay.
So we've been stressing a lot on the financial management part of self-discipline as it helps us thrive in this economic turmoil we are in. However, I also want to impute the part of your behavior, the behavior of individuals and all of that. In your workspace, your ability to be honest, uphold the value of integrity as well. It allows people to entrust you with more.
Okay.
And we feel like a lot of our leaders in the course of the years have disappointed us. And yes, Nigeria is going through quite a messy situation right now. But if we have had individuals who have held, let's say, the value of integrity, let's say self-reliance, let's say all of these things, and maybe while you are occupying an office that you see so much money flowing in, there is a trust, there's a belief that people have for them to entrust such heavy funds into your hands. And this is a product of mismanagement that we've gone through over the years.
Okay.
And so individuals who are in charge or in positions of funds or finances, sipping or taking something that you are not meant to, or mismanagement of these funds, if you learn to uphold the value of self-control, and integrity, honesty and transparency and all of that, you would see the results 5, 10, 20 years from now. Till tomorrow, the world would always applaud the role that the late Miss Dora Akunyili played at NAFDAC in the age where drug counterfeiting was prevalent. It was so bad, and now because she stepped in and she held these values very strongly, her life was threatened, her family was threatened, and in the course of the years, she because she refused to bend, we see what NAFDAC became internationally, not just within
Nigeria.
Because you cannot do these things and then you feel like you can escape it. If you don't suffer for it now, someone connected to you would suffer in the course of the years. So Nigeria is what it is now because these values were not adhered to, because we've flaunted these rules for so long, and posterity posterity would either be kind to us or not, depending on what you do now. So in that office space, whether as playing your role, even as much as a receptionist, even as much as a cleaner, do what you are meant to do diligently. Be polite, be kind to people. I mean, it doesn't take so much. I know that it's a lot of stress and all of that, but do it right. I'm telling you, time will reward. Time
will reward. Thank you so much, Mr. Ogo. And I'm wrapping things up, Mr. Innocent.
Okay, I just want to speak to our listeners. The world that we are in today is really not a time for us to keep guessing our way around life and doing things by impulse, doing things any way we like. It is a time to take responsibility. Dear young man, young woman, parents, whoever it is that is under the influence of my voice, it is time for us to take responsibility. Take responsibility as touching managing our finances.